In a bustling city, there lived a man named Tolu, the proud owner of a thriving canteen. Every morning, he woke up early to prepare his meals, and by midday, people flocked to his shop from far and near. His food was so delicious that no matter how wealthy or prominent a customer was, they found themselves licking their plates skimming. Business was booming. No matter how much food he prepared, it was never enough. The demand was overwhelming, and his canteen quickly became the most sought-after eatery in town. But beneath the success, Tolu harbored a dark secret, one that none of his loyal customers could ever imagine. The secret behind his tasty meals and the magnetic pull of his canteen lay in an horrifying ingredient: used sanitary pads. He always mix water and the blood gotten from the pad, then he uses the blood water as part of his cooking ingredients. Tolu had network of men who roamed the streets pretending to be insane. They rummaged through waste bin and dump sites, collecting discarded parts. Every day they delivered their green finds to Tolu, and in return he paid them handsomely for their services. This was a secret, and it was the reason he never allowed anyone to handle his cooking. As time passed, his business flourished beyond his imagination. He expanded, buying the entire building and transforming his small canteen into a grand restaurant. Yet, the crowd never stopped coming. At times, his workers had to lock the entrance just to control the overwhelming rush of customers. With wealth pouring in, Tolu bought his first house, his first car, and yet he remained deeply involved in the kitchen. His workers admired his dedication, believing him to be an humble and hardworking man. What they didn't know was that his constant presence in the kitchen wasn't due to his passion, it was due to his secret. He had to protect his secret. As Tolu restaurants continued to flourish, a woman named Mrs. Dele saw an opportunity. If business was booming for him, surely she could also succeed in the same area. With high hopes, she opened her own restaurant directly opposite Tolu's, expecting to attract a share of the hungry crowd. But soon she realized she had made a terrible mistake. Our restaurant remained empty, customers barely walked in, and those who did never returned. Worse still, they left their food untouched, throwing it away after few bites. Meanwhile, across the street, Tolu's restaurant was always packed. Even when its food ran out, the crowd would rather wait than considering dining at her place. It was as if our restaurant didn't exist. Mrs. Dele was devastated. She had invested heavily in her business, but it was turning into a disaster. She knew her food was tasty, so why wasn't anyone coming? There must be a secret to his success, she thought. I need to find out so that I can apply it to my own restaurant. Night after night, she laid awake thinking of ways to get close to Tolu. If she could just befriend him, perhaps she could uncover the secret behind his thriving business. And once she knew, she would finally turn her failing restaurant into a success. Little did she know some secrets are left undiscovered. One day, Mrs. Dele called her younger sister Beatrice to share her plan. She was determined to get close to Tolu and uncover the secret behind his booming restaurant. But she couldn't do it alone. She needed Beatrice's help. Beatrice was a stunning young woman in her early 20s, intelligent and sophisticated. Mrs. Dele knew her sister was perfect for the plan. With her charm and wit, Tolu wouldn't stand a chance. After carefully explaining her idea, Beatrice agreed. Her mission was simple: get close to Tolu, earn his trust, and uncover the secret to his success. Then she would report everything back to her sister, and Mrs. Dele's struggling business would finally thrive. Mrs. Dele was thrilled. Victory was within reach. With the plan set in motion, the sisters began watching Tolu closely, studying his routine, his movements, and his habits. And once they had gathered enough information, Beatrice was ready to make her move. The moment arrived when she spotted Tolu stepping out of his restaurant, about to enter his car. Timing it perfectly, she walked past him with an air of confidence, her elegance impossible to ignore. Tolu froze. He has never seen such beauty before. Beatrice, unfazed, kept walking. She could feel his eyes on her, and just as she had hoped, he couldn't resist. "Excuse me," Tolu called out. Beatrice smirked. Yes, she thought, It worked. She turned around gracefully, meeting his gaze with a warm and inviting smile. "Hello, good afternoon," Tolu said, his voice carrying both curiosity and admiration. "I must confess, you are absolutely stunning." He extended his hand towards her. "My name is Tolu. I own this restaurant." Beatrice returned his handshake, her eyes twinkling with innocence. "I am Beatrice, and it's nice to meet you." The trap was set. Beatrice now realized that Tolu was not just successful, he was also incredibly handsome. His smooth skin, confident aura, and charming smile caught her off guard. "I hope I don't lose focus," she muttered to herself, shaking off the unexpected thought. This was a mission, not a love story. She had to remember that. Soon, Beatrice and Tolu became close friends. They spent hours talking on the phone late into the night, sharing stories and laughter. It didn't take long. Tolu's feelings started growing. He was falling for her. On her part, Beatrice stayed committed to the plan. She gave it her all, playing her role perfectly, making Tolu trust her more each day. And then, just as Mrs. Daly had hoped, Beatrice and Tolu officially started dating. But as the line between pretense and reality blurred, Beatrice began to wonder, was she still playing the game, or was she slowly getting caught in it? Tolu and Beatrice became inseparable. Their love was obvious to everyone around them. They attended events together, shared laughter, and indulged in life pleasures. Beatrice frequently visited Tolu's home, sometimes even spending the night. She was determined to win his trust completely. But something unexpected happened. She started to genuinely like him. Despite her sister's repeated warning to stay focused on their mission, Beatrice couldn't help but admire Tolu's kindness and charm. He was sweet, thoughtful, and generous, trying her with expensive gifts, surprise outings, and money. Many nights she lay in the bed thinking about him, torn between her original plan and growing feelings. Yet deep inside, she knew the truth. Their relationship had begun with lies, and if Tolu ever found out the real reason she approached him, he will never forgive her. Still, she reassured herself, "At least let me enjoy the moment." One thing, however, puzzled Beatrice. Despite having a team of workers, Tolu always insisted on cooking the food himself. He would wake up early every morning and head straight to the restaurant, refusing to share his recipe with anyone, not even his chefs. "Why don't you let your worker handle the cooking?" Beatrice had suggested one evening. Tolu simply smiled. "No one can prepare it the way I do. My secret is in the seasoning and the way I treat my customers like kings and queens," he explained to Beatrice on how he seasoned his meal perfectly. Beatrice thought she had finally uncovered his secret. Excitedly, she rushed to tell her sister. Mrs. Dele immediately implemented the same approach in her restaurant, convinced that her business would finally flourish. But to her disappointment, nothing changed. In fact, business became even worse. Frustrated, Beatrice eventually told her sister to let it go. Tolu's success is from God, she concluded. She had seen him praying multiple times at home and believed that divine grace was responsible for his fortune. Then came Tolu's birthday. Beatrice had planned a grand surprise for him, gifts, decoration, and outing. But the first part of her surprise was to assist him in the kitchen, something he had never allowed her to do. "He will be touched when he sees me helping," she thought. Since she was familiar with the restaurant, she got there very early. She had already obtained a spare key. She arrived early in the morning before other workers resumed. Quietly, she entered the building and headed straight to the kitchen. As she approached the door, she paused. Through the slightly open door, she caught the sight of Tolu inside, preparing the food. What she saw made her blood run cold. Tolu was mixing blood from used sanitary pads into the food. Beatrice's stomach churned. Her hands trembled as she struggled to process what she had just witnessed. She wanted to scream, but quickly covered her mouth, fear gripping her body. Her heart pounded violently as she staggered backward, rushing to the restroom. Once inside, she vomited uncontrollable. She was confused, scared, and could not believe her eyes. With shaking hands, she pulled out her phone and immediately called her sister. "Sister, you won't believe what I just saw," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Meanwhile, Tolu heard noises. Suspicious, he walked towards the source of the sound. only to find Beatrice with her phone in the middle of a call. His heart dropped. Beatrice turned and looked at him, their eyes locked. Her phone slipped from her trembling finger and fell to the ground. Tolu's expression darkened. His jaw clenched. "What are you doing here?" he demanded, stepping closer. Beatrice couldn't speak. "What do you see?" His voice was dangerously low. Summoning courage, Beatrice took a deep breath. "So this is your secret," she hissed, her voice filled with disgust. "You pretended to be a godly man, yet you have been using disgusting evil methods to succeed." Tolu's eyes narrowed. "Wait, have you been spying on me?" "No," Beatrice snapped. "I only came to surprise you for your birthday, but thank God I did. Now I know the truth." Tolu's nose flared. "You will not speak of this to anyone." "Or what?" Beatrice challenged, suddenly finding her courage. "My sister already knows I'm here. If anything happens to me, you will face the consequences." Tolu's face twisted with rage. "Your sister?" "Yes," Beatrice smirked. "The woman who owns the restaurant opposite yours. She sent me to uncover your secrets. At first I thought it was just God's grace, but now I see the truth." Tolu's whole body tensed with fury. "You tricked me." His voice was deadly. "You played with my heart just to get information." Beatrice crossed her arms. "And you played with people's lives just for money. So I guess we are even." Something inside Tolu snapped. Tolu's face darkened with rage. His fist clenched at his side as he took a step closer. "How dare you," he growled. "To think I genuinely liked you. I wanted to spend the rest of my life with you." Beatrice let a mocking laugh, placing a hand on her chest in an exaggerated shock. "Me? You must be joking. Spend the rest of my life with you." She shook her head in disgust. "Do you think I will ever marry a wicked man like you?" Tolu's nose flared, his jaw tightened. "Beatrice, don't push me." "Push you?" She cut him off, her voice rising. "Look at you, a man who built his so-called success on blood and filth. You are nothing but a fraud, Tolu. And you thought I will stay, that I actually will love you." She spat on the ground. "God forbid." Tolu's hand trembled, his heart pounded, his chest was heavy. He had been played, used, and betrayed. Beatrice, shaking her head, "Go and look for your type, Tolu, or better still, go and rot in jail." Silence hung between them like a sharp blade. Tolu's vision blurred with fury. His breath came out ragged. He had trusted her, and she had torn him apart. With blinding rage, he grabbed a metal tools and struck Beatrice across the head. A sharp, painful scream tore from her throat as she collapsed onto the cold floor, blood gushing from her wound. Tolu stood frozen, his breathing heavy. He knelt beside her, shaking her lifeless body. "Beatrice," he whispered. No response. Panic set in. Tolu stood frozen, his breath coming in short and uneven gasps. His hands trembled as he looked down at Beatrice's lifeless body. What has he done? He never intended to kill her. Despite everything, her lies, her betrayal, he had genuinely loved her. A lump formed in his throat, and before he could stop them, tears streamed down his chest. This wasn't supposed to happen. Regret crashed over him like a tidal wave. There was no time for guilt, only action. If he didn't move fast, he was finished. He needed to think. His heart pounded, his mind raced. What was he going to do? He hurriedly carried her and hid her body in a secret store within the restaurant. Then he cleaned up the blood, destroying her phone, and disposed of it before his workers started to come in. But what Tolu did not know was that Beatrice had been on call with Mrs. Dele the entire time. Mrs. Dele was horrified. She had heard everything and then a loud scream before the line went dead. Mrs. Dele rushed into the police station, her hands shaking as she clutched her phone, the evidence that could change everything. Tears streamed down her face, her breath dragged as she gasped for words. "Please, my sister is in danger. You have to hurry," she cried, her voice breaking. The officer stiffened at her desperation. "Calm down, madam. What exactly is happening?" She shoved her phone forward. "I have a recording. I was on call with Beatrice the entire time. She discovered something terrible, and now I think he has killed her." The moment the police officer played the recording, the room fell silent. Tolu's voice filled the air, followed by Beatrice's desperate confrontation. then a loud scream, and the call suddenly cutting off. The officers exchanged glances. No more hesitation. Mobilize the team now, the commanding officer backed. Within few minutes, a convoy of police vehicles rolled through the streets, siren blaring, racing towards Tolu's restaurant. The police wasted no time. They arrived in full force, surrounding the restaurant just as the sun began to rise. Confused customers, already forming their usual morning queue, whispered among themselves as officers stormed the premises. Tolu, stepping outside, was caught off guard. "What is going on?" he demanded. "You are under arrest," an officer declared, flashing a warrant. "Step aside. We are searching the premises." Tolu Stephen, his mind raised. "I need to call my lawyer," he muttered. The officers ignored him. "I want this entire premises thoroughly searched," the commanding officer ordered, his voice sharp with authority. The officers sprang into action, tearing through every inch of the restaurant, checking every room, every corner, every hidden space. Then suddenly, a scream. "Sir, over here," one of the officers called. Gasps filled the air as they dragged out a lifeless body. Beatrice. Mrs. Delaney buckled. "No, no, no," she screamed, her chest tightening with unbearable pain. She collapsed to the ground, wailing, her body shaking as raw grief consumed her. "This is my fault," she sobbed. "I killed her. If I had not sent her on that stupid mission, she would still be alive." As her cry echoed, another officer burst into Tolu's office. Moments later, he emerged, his face twisted in disgust. "Sir, you need to see this," he muttered, holding up a bag filled with used sanitary pads. They got it from Tolu's fridge inside the office. Silence, horror, disgust. The reality of what has been happening in the restaurant hit everyone like a thunderbolt. The officers exchanged horrified looks. The onlookers who had once praised Tolu's food felt their stomachs churn with revulsion. Tolu, now cuffed and surrounded by police, just stared blankly, his once proud empire crumbling before his eyes. Tolu's secret was out. The once loyal customers who had worshipped his meal were now ashamed and disgusted. Anger replaced their admiration. They grabbed stones, dirt, or whatever they could find, throwing them at Tolu as he was dragged into the police van. His once glorious empire had crumbled in a single night. As the van shut, Tolu sat inside, his expression unreadable. His eyes stared blankly into the distance. The question remained in everyone's mind: what led him into such darkness? One thing was certain: this was the beginning of a long, brutal case. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the story. Please like and subscribe to my channel.